Pero sí hablé con Robert Downey un montón de solo del MCU y cómo se sentía hacerlo y cómo pensar de eso y cómo estar en el set, y él me ayudó bastante.
Hello and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello and welcome to Staying Awake.
Cuando te llaman para un rol tan grande como este, Caballero Luna, ¿cuánto te dicen del futuro del personaje o hasta dónde sabes que llegarás en el MCU?
Nada del futuro. Pensé que me iban a enseñar como un graph con todos los años que ellos estaban pensando, pero no, ni me enseñaron todos los episodios, solo un episodio me dieron el guión y dijeron que esta es la idea. ¿Y qué piensas? Y fuimos creando la historia juntos. Fuimos creando todo el mundo de Moon Knight juntos. La verdad que pusimos todo lo que teníamos, toda nuestra energía creativa en esta serie sin pensar en a dónde va a ir.
How is Moon Knight different from other Marvel productions, and how was the work to present a unique tone for the series?
Moon Knight is a character that is not very well known at all inside Marvel Comics and MCU, although he has a wonderful diehard following. What's really cool about that is that this kind of like dark, vengeful, very complex character doesn't have to fit into any canon at large, not even his own, because there's so many different takes on the character through the last 50 years of comics. So it's kind of this, this gigantic, globe-trotting, mind-bending adventure that is beholden to nothing and except for the one rule that we had, which is it must be very weird. And so that's probably what is going to set it apart from a lot of from other Marvel things, is that he doesn't fit in. He's an outsider.
Hold the phone. Now hold the phone. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark?
En este seriado Moon Knight tú haces diferentes personajes. Fue muy difícil trabajar no solo con otros compañeros, pero contigo, Oscar Isaac. Y por ahí leí que tu hermano te ayudó, ¿no?
Sí, exacto. No, creo que eso fue la reta más difícil técnicamente. La cosa que te gusta como actor es llegas al set y hay otro actor y hace algo diferente que no pensaste que lo iba a hacer y te sorprende, y ahí hay una cosa, algo espontáneo que pasa. Pero en esto no había eso, porque tenía que planear todo lo que iba a hacer, cómo iba a reaccionar como el otro personaje. Eso fue difícil, pero tener mi hermano ahí, que es un actor, que tenemos la misma sangre, poder actuar con él, eso fue buenísimo, y la verdad es que no lo podía hacer sin él.
What was it like to work with Oscar Isaac? What did you find most interesting about this Marvel character, Moon Knight?
Coming from our background, you were talking about our 5 prior feature films. We've worked with a lot of really wonderful actors over all of those films, but Oscar and Ethan too. But just on the topic of Oscars, we've worked with very few people that have just simply as much experience as he has. You go look at his IMDb and you're like, how did you do all of that? The man's been working for decades. And you see it on set. You see his insane amount of preparation. You see how well he understands these large sets. And he's someone, like so many people in this production, he's someone who we just learned so much from.
Voice in your head. Shut up! There's chaos in you.
You have a lot of horror experience in your career. How did you use that in Moon Knight?
Well, it's interesting that you should say, should we expect a lot of scary moments? It's interesting because our aim is always to be scary as defined by being unsettling, full of dread, just general feeling of unease. And we're always aiming for that as opposed to aiming to be within any particular genre. So, even though our past 5 feature films would be categorized as being horror or sci-fi, for us, that was always ultimately how you categorize it to present it to people so they kind of know what they're getting into. But that when we're making them, we're not thinking, we must do this because a horror movie does this. And that carried over into Moon Knight, where it was just like, oh, just do what's right in the moment. Don't worry about any specific genre that you're working in.
I think the challenge that we most were frightened of failing was that we wouldn't be bold or weird enough. And luckily, everybody on the creative team, Marvel and Oscar and Ethan and May, everybody wanted it to be something that's subversive and strange and took big risks and was a bold show. And so we do feel like the show rose to the challenge. because everybody wanted the same thing. Everybody wanted it to be left of center and not everything that you've seen before and not middle of the road. That was what the show was going to be.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks.
Tengo que decir que me gustaría que tú fueras un héroe latino. Y eso dicho, ¿qué superhéroes latinos esperas ver en MCU?
No sé, pero la cosa que te puedo decir es que hay elementos que no se hay elementos que van a salir en esta serie que te van a hacer feliz.
You have been chosen to direct the last second season. What we can expect for these upcoming episodes? Can you tell us something?
What we can tell you is that we learned these enormous lessons on Moon Knight about just how interesting and fresh that Marvel wants Moon Knight to be. And they basically said the same thing about Moon Knight as they said about Loki. There's no reason to do it if it's not different. So Loki is going to be something that is very us. It's going to be something that is very fresh. We're crazy excited that we actually get to work with Marvel again.
After Moon Knight and Loki, which Marvel projects would you like to work in the future? Can we expect you to direct a Marvel movie or something like that?
Oh, wow. We've never been hit with that question before. We don't know. Let's see who's going to be our Marvel character.
It's funny. This one, we're just not. The problem is like we'd have to ask and be given permission to do so, of course. But I can say our favorite Marvel movie is Doctor Strange. Everything about it looks incredibly cool, and as huge fans of Scott Derrickson and Sam Raimi, love what they're doing with that character.